I'm Linda Thompson and welcome to the Authors Show. Have you all ever imagined the world being a better place? Our author today has written a book called The World I Imagined, a creative manual for ending poverty and building peace. What a phenomenal concept. Welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you, Linda. It's really great to be here.
Why, this book is just fascinating to me because I understand that your husband's an artist and he helped you create the cover for it.
Absolutely. It was a collaboration, and I couldn't have got such a beautiful cover. I think it's beautiful without his help.
That's great. Well, tell me about The World I Imagine. You write of poverty and war, but you think it's possible to eradicate that in our lifetime. Elaborate on that a little bit, please.
Well, I talk about poverty as much or more than I do conflict, because I really believe that we will never be able to have peace until we do end poverty on the planet. And the reason for that is that for several reasons, poverty is the root cause of the conflict, and it's a tool by which people use to perpetuate conflict in our society. It's the excuse that's used. It's the breeding ground for warriors. And when you have people who have grown up disaffected, hopeless, then they care less about their welfare, and especially about that of other people.
Hopelessness is something that does breed a lot of conflict, resentment, and everything that goes along with it. What does healthcare have to do with it? How would you bring that into it? Okay, and let's look at it from an economic standpoint. People say it's too expensive to provide health care for everyone. But when you consider that sick and injured people do not make good workers, if we're going to end poverty, we have to develop an economic system which is able to use all the human resources available. That's people, workers. And if we don't take care of the workers with good health care, that means not only taking care of them when they need medical care, but also preventive care, nutritious food, water, clean air. So global warming is an important aspect, green living. Good living habits, lifestyle is so important. Safety is vital too. So all of these things go into building a system which is economically feasible, economically viable, so that we can work toward full employment. How do you suggest that we find employment for all these people? I mean, particularly in 2009, we're laying off people right and left and jobs are disappearing like crazy. Well, actually, when you look around, there is work to be done. Just look at what the governments that are, the state and city governments, for instance, that are laying off people who are needed more than ever, because the way they've got the system set up, the economic means to be able to put these people to work, to help, for instance, to help the citizens. What the government is for is to help the citizens to be able to manage in their lives. Education, they're cutting back on education at a time when we need to educate people more than ever. In fact, if you looked at all the different areas of society that need the most attention, you come down to the fact that if we could solve the problem of making sure that everyone is educated to the extent of their abilities and interests, and that education is a lifelong habit for everyone, and that then we can develop a system in which everybody is able to be productive and contribute, then
we would end up solving the economic problems, which would give us the means to be able to solve all the other problems.
Okay, boy, that's a mouthful.
This book, the idea, what I have in my head is so complicated, and I tried to break it down. But one of the things about this book is that there are so many cross-references in that book. It shows the complexity of the issue. It's not something that you can just say, well, okay, we're going to do this here. And too much of the time when they do this here, they end up causing more problems over here. Mm-hmm. And they've got to find the win-win-win solutions. And if they did that, they would end up being able to solve more and more of the problems.
It's my understanding that she wrote a historical novel or a historical mystery.
Ah, yes, I wrote actually, I wrote it some years ago, but it was kind of fortuitous because it got wonderful rejections when I was trying to get it published. And finally, when I came out here and the things started blowing up with the polygamists, this is a murder mystery set in 1911 Arizona, just the year before Arizona became a state. So there's a hint of politics in there, and with all the polygamists that have historically been in this area, I thought, well, you know, how did they interact? How do they interact with the straight population, if you will? And so I have this, people love my sheriff, and when he came into my head, he was this, I have an actor that I want to play him, this wonderful Hispanic man with an intelligent wife who is the interim school teacher, because they can't find a school teacher to, you know, an unmarried woman, etc. And they have 3 smart kids.
Well, where can we find The World I Imagine?
The World I Imagine, and incidentally, Lion's Pride, my novel. Okay. My books are available wherever books are sold. They're available at all the online bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. They can be ordered through any bookstore. If your local bookstore doesn't have it, you can request it, they can get it, and tell your friends and they'll get more orders.
Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left, Debbie. Give me, or give our viewers, one piece of wisdom that you would like to impart from The World I Imagine.
Well, this is not going to happen overnight. Solving the problems, ending war and poverty, but it has to start. And I wanted to start the conversation about the win-win-win solutions.
Okay, Debbie, thank you so much for sharing your ideas with us.
Thank you. It's been really enjoyable.
You heard it from the author herself, The World I Imagine. It's really not such a bad place, is it? You now know where you can find The World I Imagine, and we all have something to learn from what Debbie has to say. Once again, I'm Linda Thompson, and you never know what you're going to learn at the next show of the Authors Show. So, a book can change a life, one word at a time.